honeys, it's Yolz and welcome back to my channel. It is the daily dose, so 7 days of content back to back. Today we are talking about a topic that's really close to home. So if I get emotional, I doubt I'll get emotional, but if I do get emotional, please understand, it is very close to home. We are talking about black tax. Is it an honor or an obligation? I actually asked some of you a while ago on my Instagram story what you think about black tax, because somebody tagged me on a total rant about black tax and they said, you know what, it would be interesting to talk about it. And to be honest with you, it's a topic I've been thinking about for years. When I started my channel, it's something that I wanted to address, but it's also something very close to home, like I say, so it's difficult to talk about it without the emotional aspect. But for this video, I will try and remove all emotions and really get into the crux of the topic. If you do enjoy this video, you know what to do. Give it a massive thumbs up, comment down below and let me know your thoughts on the subject, and then of course don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.
Hey there. It's Yolz channel.
Alrighty, so I actually kept some of your comments right here. Some were DMs, some were actually on the Insta story questions, and some I obviously shared with you on Insta story with my own opinion or my own answer that I thought, were valid to mention. So before we get into the crux of this video, let's get the definition of black tax. Let's ask Uncle Google what black tax is. Alrighty, so I actually found an article on News 24 defining what black tax is, living with black tax. So I'm going to go straight into the definition. Black tax is a colloquial term for sharing your salary with family and making sure that they are well taken care of before considering taking care of yourself. It feeds an expectation that a person may be liable to carry a burden if they studied and found a job. Wow, I don't think there's a better explanation, especially where the question comes in, is it an honor or obligation? Because that expectation is there. And I like the part where they're saying you're sharing your salary with your family, making sure that they are well taken care of before considering taking care of yourself. And that's exactly why I asked the question, is it honor or obligation? Because black tax comes with that burden of having to take care of your family first, their needs before yours. And for me personally, I've struggled with the term because to a large extent, one has to live and one has to also build financial security, especially for the future. And then you consider, can you actually thrive while your family struggles? No ways. I personally can't do that. So that's why I'm like, the question is there. Is it an honor or is it an obligation? The reason one could consider it as an honor is because our parents, honestly, especially black parents, many of our parents struggled to get us through school. In fact, they actually struggled to get us through Model C schools, good English speaking schools, multiracial schools, to get us the education that we have today. Some of us have got 3 or 4 or 5 degrees, and we have our parents, our struggling parents, to thank for that. And to a large extent, when you actually give something to them in terms of monetary value, perhaps you're buying groceries every month, or you're paying their rent, or you're taking care of them holistically, that in itself can be seen as an honor. Where it becomes an obligation, I personally think, is when the expectation is so much so that you barely making it at the end of the month and they want almost everything, and not just your immediate family anymore, even the people who can give you 20 rand and for pocket money when you were really struggling, in university and in high school, So I think for me, that's where obligation is. And when people treat you like an ATM, definitely think that's now becoming almost as though it's just expected. Translation is difficult. So now that you're working, you don't want to take care of your family, or now that you're working, the expectation is that you always have money, when in reality living expenses are high in general. So I wanted us to have the conversation and involve you in this way. I'm going to go straight into your answers in my Insta story and share them here on video, because I want us to keep this conversation going. I want us to open the line. I don't want you leaving here with just y'all's opinion, because I have a lot of opinions when it comes to this. It affects me every single day. I take care of my family as much as I possibly can. I do have the black tax aspect in my expenses every single month, and it goes out. It doesn't come come to me at all. So I know exactly what you may be going through if you are somebody who's affected by black tax. But at the same time, I will admit, I don't have family members calling me up and asking for money or expecting anything either than what I already give to my mom in particular, and my family. And when it comes to my own siblings, I give them with pleasure. I find it, you know, almost as though I just do it with pleasure. I'm always willing to help out when I can. The trick is when it's mandatory, when people feel like it's mandatory for me to give when I actually don't have, as though it's like, how come you don't have money? You know you should be taking care of X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's y'all's opinion. Let's get straight into yours. So somebody said straight. I think they were actually having a straight face saying this. It's sad when parents think you are an investment that needs to pay out in due time. My comment to this was, I said, but sometimes they sacrifice everything in the hopes for a better life one day, even if that hope is you, okay? I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's the case for a lot of parents. A lot of parents who are struggling. A lot of our parents are actually domestic workers. I mean, my mom and my grandmother were very, very fortunate. I don't know where in the lineage they changed the story, where in their generation they changed the story, but my grandmother was a teacher and my mom actually has a BCom degree. She actually studied, she went to university, and my grandfather who married my grandmother was actually a principal at a school. So I don't have that, but I'm very much aware that there are lots of people out there whose mothers and grandmothers are coming from a background where they've all been domestic workers. They're uneducated and they've had to struggle for every single thing that they have today. You need to consider that when they look at you. Yes, they don't only see you as an investment, but it's more of a hope, you know, hope for tomorrow, hope that, you know, tomorrow will be better. They won't just be feeding on pap and eggs, for instance, and that, you know, things will get better. So when they do take you to school with their last cent, they do actually see you as a sort of investment. They're hoping that someday, you know, what they're putting in will have some sort of return. Not necessarily that you'll buy them luxuries, but that things will get better in a sense, that they'll have food in their tummies every single day and that they'll be taken care of. That's just my opinion. And I said, yes, it's sad for many families that that hope keeps them going, but they need that to keep going. And I said, as long as poverty is still very much our portion as a black population, it won't change anytime soon. So again, it goes back to our history. Black tax can be seen as an obligation in our lives just because of our history and our background. We're coming from a struggling background, and our parents literally look at us and they hope that they can, you know, get out of their situation, get out of their poverty. So for that, I do say it's really difficult. Someone also said that when my business is peaking, I do it gladly. I've also taught my family to manage expectations. So this is somebody with a business, right? And when they're doing well, they help out. When they're struggling, they don't help out. And for me personally, I wish I had that, because to a large extent for me, it's a set amount that I have to give every month. Otherwise, things are not going to go well for my family, at least, and personally, because, you know, as most of you guys know, the house that my mom lives in is a house that I bought myself, and the mortgage is under my name. If I miss a payment, I'm screwed. Not necessarily them alone. If the house is repossessed, I think for me personally, it won't affect me as much as it will affect them, you know, physically. So yeah, it will affect my finances, my credit record, and all of those things. But I don't think that's as bad as me taking my family out of the house, if you get what I'm saying. So in this case, I think if you can manage your parents' expectations, that's fantastic. But I do also still think that you don't have to feel it's almost necessary, especially when the black tax aspect is not that necessary, because not all families need black tax. Not every black person is affected by black tax, and not every parent expects their child to give back to them. Not at all. In her case, where she has a business, and when a business is peaking, she helps out. That's fantastic. And the fact that you can actually manage the expectations of your family, I think you're very, very fortunate to be in that position. Someone else, she said, it's an honor because success means nothing when your people are struggling. I don't think I'll be able to celebrate my successes knowing that my family is struggling. At the same time, it begs the question of, would you be able to succeed or go further if you did not have the obligation that you have now, the monthly obligation that you have now? I can't stand to see my family struggle. Even though I want to reach certain goals in my life, I personally would rather sacrifice some things right now for later and leave them out later, you know, instead of seeing my family struggle. Somebody said, it's aggravated my MDD. I failed my 3rd year, still owe my doctor from last year August. I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't shower. And this also plays a lot around mental illnesses and anxiety. And again, another issue raised. Black tax can be stressful. Black tax can cause anxiety. Black tax can literally affect your mental health, okay? I have heard, again, a lot of people complaining and saying that, you know, their families stress them. You know, people are married and they've got, you know, husbands and kids, and their families expect, for instance, that husband to sacrifice their whole salary to their in-laws rather than the immediate family. So again, this issue is a hot and hard issue. It does cause anxiety and it does cause stress for a lot of people. I know myself, if I did not plan ahead as I did right now, for my salary for the next 6 months to the next 12 months or so, it would stress me. And I know I'm already stressing about future income. I stress a lot about finances, but it's only because I know that it's not just Fez and Lwazi. You know, Lwazi takes care of us. Lwazi takes good care of us, but it's more so my family that I stress more about. If I don't pay my bond, guys, I don't know what's gonna happen to my family. Do you know what I mean? And if I stressed a lot about that, I would probably lose my mind. So that's where, for me, black tax gets really toxic, when our parents and our grandparents and our extended family don't know where to draw the line, and they don't put themselves in our shoes. And you get sick, you get anxious, you get stressed, you have mental issues, and you carry this for years and years, all in the name of black tax, which I definitely think is very unfair. Somebody said, very, very unfair on kids. No wonder black people struggle to acquire wealth. So true, but I don't think black tax is the only reason black people struggle to acquire wealth. I think we struggle to acquire wealth because we don't have an example. We don't have a template of what it is to acquire wealth. Even with black people who don't have black tax, I've seen them splurging and spending their money on material things that don't have any value, that don't even have appreciation over 5 to 10 years, you know. So I think we do definitely need a template, but it's not, black tax is not the only issue when it comes to acquiring wealth and building legacies as black people. So yeah, on that. All right, in conclusion, I think it's really, really important for our generation to realize that we are fortunate to be in the position that we are in. For many of us who are working, our parents don't have half of what we have. The opportunities are not there for them, but it does not also give them the right to feel entitled and to demand of what we make at the end of the month. I think in the case where we are coming from struggling families, let's manage expectations and see where we can help. Let's be realistic with the money that we have and use it wisely as well. It's difficult to have them in our shoes, but I think it's important for us to step into their shoes too and understand where they're coming from, but to set the record straight and to draw the line when we can, maturely, wisely, sensitively, and tactfully. It's so important for us to sit down with our parents and talk about where we can help, where you think it's sustainable for you to help, because helping with things that are not sustainable is actually wasting your money as well. Okay, in the long run, if you're just going to be pouring out your money into things that are useless, like for instance, if your parents are drinking and you just funding for them to just drink away their sorrows, that's not helping out, that's not sustainable. But if you are going to help them build a business that's going to bring in money for the long term, like for instance funding a spaza shop for them, you know, that's going to sustain them in the long run, then that's worth your money, that's worth putting in your money. So I think that's my final conclusion. Really, that's also what I've learned about the decisions that I made back in the day when I was younger and excited to help out. I think the best I could have done for myself is look at my situation and also weigh them up with my plans. I still want to be financially stable at the end of the day. I want to build a legacy for my children, and if I help out so much so that it strains that portion, I won't be happy in life. I may be stressed, and I may even suffer certain mental illnesses that I don't want to even have. So what I've learned from this whole debate and this whole conversation is that it's really important for us to sit down and think before we go out and spend our money on anything or anyone, including our families that need a portion of that money, you know, including the ones that are demanding a portion of that. We need to really think about it beforehand before we say or do anything. Don't overcommit with your finances. Don't overpromise with your finances as well. Sit down, budget, and build your own while helping out with your family where you can, making sure that you're putting in your money into something that's sustainable and somewhere where you can possibly see growth, you know. It's really important for us to do that. And then where mental health issues come in, I think it's also, again, very important for you to take time out. Don't consider the finances. The worst that could happen is you going mad, and I think that's more important than anything. In this whole conversation, your sanity is really important. So if you're unhappy where you are and you're staying only because your family needs you, I think you need to leave that for a second. If you can, take a week, a month, however much time you need, take that time off. Forget everything else and take care of your mind. That's more important. And if people are saying, oh, but what are we going to eat if you don't work? What are you going to eat when I'm gone? Your sanity counts more than anything. And then in terms of the wealth aspect, it is also very important for us to build and acquire good wealth as a Black nation. I think it's really important for us, while we are trying to take care of our struggling families, to that managing expectations thing, to manage expectations and also plan ahead for our immediate families. We need to be able to say, this is all I can help out with, family over here. This is what I'm doing now for my immediate family. These are my expenses. They cannot budge, they cannot change, but this is the little that I'm putting towards my retirement and for the unforeseen future. These are my savings. The other thing that we need to do as a generation is also start enjoying our money. The reality is tomorrow is not promised to us, okay? Take that holiday that you want to. Don't feel guilty for taking that vacation that you need to. Still try and help out at home, but do take care of yourself, because again, this is important. But also don't forget that the future awaits. You don't want to be that struggling family 20 years down the line relying on your child to take care of you. We both don't think it's fair in our case, but we don't have a choice, because a lot of our families come from a poverty-stricken background. So we can't help that, but we can change our story. And we can change our story by putting away something every month towards our future, towards financial stability, towards long-term investments that will take care of us and our families, and hopefully build strong legacies for our children. That is where I'm going to end this video. I feel a bit emotional, but you know what, no tears coming out. I really hope you learned something today, and let's keep the conversation going. I think it's such a deep conversation and one that needs to continue. Let's continue it down in the comment section below. I hope you learned something today, and I am keen to hear what you have to say about Black tax. Do not forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Just join the Yolz channel family. It's absolutely free. Click the subscribe button right here, and then for the next video, if you're sticking around onto the channel, why don't you click right here and watch my next video. I love you guys so much. Mwah. Bye.